Right, okay folks, firstly I do apologise about the rather unflattering camera angle. Yep, you can see my belly and what have you. Anyway, yeah. Listen, this is this going to be the last waffle? No, technically I've got one more waffle to do, which may or may not happen. So I thought I'll try and get one put out, you know, before the close of the year. Excuse me. So yeah, I hope you're all good. I hope you're all prepared for Christmas. I've still got a few things to buy. Finish work tomorrow at half. This is getting recorded, by the way, last night, and it's going out on Friday. Finish my work at 12:30. I need to go up to the shops, get a few things, and that's me pretty much sorted. So I'm off work from, it says, tomorrow at 12:30, and I go back on Wednesday the excuse me, Wednesday the 3rd, because it's still up in Scotland. It's a public holiday on the 2nd of January, so not a bad wee break, not quite 2 weeks. It's, I don't know, 9 days, something like that, you know, not bad. It's actually probably the longest holiday I'll have had all year. Yeah, something like that. So yeah, listen folks, it's not going to be it's nothing exciting as per normal. I've written down a list of just a few wee things I want to kind of talk about. Firstly, just the last 12 months in YouTube. I've called it a year in YouTube. What's kind of happened? There's, since my channel started back in, when would it be, 2013, it's changed a lot, you know, it really has. In the last couple of years, and probably the last 2 years in particular, the content has slowed. It's not been a conscious decision to do that. It's simply been, I've got other things going on in my life. You know, I do my cook school, I play pool, and you also need some nights to yourself where you don't do anything. So I am conscious that I do less videos. The majority of them are still live streams, which are fine. Live streams are great, good fun to do. I do still miss doing the sort of regular videos that I was doing, you know, a few years back. I do want to try and get back into these again, but I keep saying that, and well, I'm not saying I don't do them. The problem, like I said, I've got, like everybody, it's that age-old problem of lack of time. I've got my daughter living with me at the moment, so yeah, that obviously that takes up a lot of time. I've got to devote time to her. I see my girlfriend at weekends. That's never really changed, so there's that. But just, yeah, it's a lack of time. You know, I've got other interests that I do. So yeah, I will continue to do what I'm doing. I mean, in the last year, what have I kind of, the Sunday stream has definitely become a thing. I mean, I've been doing that now for, I don't know how many years, 3-4 years, maybe more than that, I'm not quite sure. Friday Waffles are not as regular, though saying that, I think I still generally do about three a month. I didn't do one last week, I don't think. That will continue. You know, if I don't have anything to talk about, or I can't be arsed, I'm not going to do it. Simple as that. If I do have stuff to talk about and I can be arsed, then I will do it. Every second week when I'm in my own house, again, if I can be bothered, I will. I'll do the Sunday live stream, or live Friday Waffle, I should say. Do enjoy them. So these will continue to happen. Other stuff that I've been doing this year was Watch with Mainmeister, where we watch TV programs and I just try and add an element of humour and commentary. It doesn't always work, but there you go. So yeah, that's kind of it. You know, there's nothing really else to sort of say about YouTube. I still do enjoy it. Questions, and I have said this before, you know, when I kind of said I was going to stop doing the Friday Waffle, I don't know, 3-4 months ago. One of the biggest reason is because I have nothing to talk about, and the lack of questions, and that is still very much a thing. There are very few people posting questions or topics, and as I keep saying time and time again, it's not a question of like, ask a question, what is your favourite blah, or do you like this, or what are your thoughts. It can just be an open-ended thing like, tell us your thoughts on loading games with tape, tell us your thoughts on, I don't know, modern consoles versus old consoles, anything like that. You know, it can be something as open-ended as that, and just one subject like that could be enough for me to kind of do a waffle. So, like I says, folks, it's over to you lot. If you want to see the kind of, not so much the waffle to continue, it will always continue. I mean, if I get to a point where I'm like, I'm done with it, I'll tell you. That isn't a thing at the moment. You know, I still do enjoy doing the Friday Waffle when I can be arsed. But just, I do need feedback. Absolutely need feedback. So if you want it to continue, get your questions in. Topic, just like, make it a topic. That way it doesn't have to be some kind of, you know, ingenious question. Let me know. So yeah, that's where I am with YouTube. Still continue. Let's see where it goes from there. The second thing I want to kind of mention, in the last 12 months, selling my kind of gaming collection, I've been thinking for quite a long time about getting rid of stuff, and I'm still of that, you know, thinking. I still want to do that. The reason being, it's multiple reasons. It's multiple reasons. I've got a lot of hardware that quite simply never ever gets used. It sits in a cupboard, unused, and the thing is, I can, you know, even if it's not getting used, I've got other avenues to play these games on, you know, Mister, emulation and that kind of stuff. So I've got a lot of hardware that's kicking about, doing absolutely nothing. I'm getting older. With the current sort of financial crisis, they tell us it's getting better. I don't think it is. We're all really feeling the pinch. I am at the moment. There's no two ways about it. My mortgage went up by a considerable amount. That's all I'll say. So we're all feeling the pinch, and I just think to myself, I would quite like to try and get some savings behind me. And I can do that with selling stuff that I don't use. The problem I've got is how you go about selling stuff. I've put a couple of sort of systems on eBay and had nothing. Absolutely no takers at all. So people talk about, the retro scene is going daft with prices and all that. I'm not asking daft prices, but I'm asking, in my opinion, what I think is a fair amount, and I'm getting nothing. So I think it's probably down to the fact that everybody's is struggling for money. So right now is probably not the time to sell stuff, but you know, I would love to get to a stage where I don't have very much. I've had my fun of owning all the original hardware. I've had a great collection of stuff for probably way over 10 years. Like I said, I've had my fun, I've had my enjoyment. It's time to pass it on to someone else. Unfortunately, I need to charge people for the stuff. I would love to be able to say to somebody, there you go, you go and have fun with whatever it is. I'm not in that place that I can afford to do that, unfortunately. Systems that I will keep. I have kind of thought long and hard about what systems I want to keep. I originally thought Commodore Amiga, and I got the Mister, and I thought, you know what, I'm all about the games. To me, it's not about being able to mess about with Workbench and that. You know, I only really ever use my Amiga for playing games. So when I got the Mister, that's been a complete revelation. I'm going to talk about that shortly. I had no reason to keep the Amiga. I've also got a Raspberry Pi 4000 or 400, I can't even remember what it's called, and it runs an Amiga sort of emulator, and it's like the most turbocharged turbocharged Amiga you could ever get. So that, coupled that with the Mister, I've got absolutely no reason to hang on to an original Amiga. You know, in an ideal situation, we had all the space, all the money and that kind of stuff. Great, I wouldn't sell any of these things, but you know, I do need the money, and I don't require the hardware, so it's going to go. So yeah, am I sad selling stuff? Not really. To be fair, I've not actually got rid of much so far, but I do need to try and kind of up it a wee bit, start getting more and more stuff out there. So yeah, the Mister. I'm trying to think when I first got the Mister. I think it was this year. I'm sure it was this year. You know what? It's one of these things. I say that time and time again. When you're talking about the passing of time, you think about, you know, oh, that was 3 years ago. And the reality is, it was 5 years ago, or when you talk about something, oh, it was 10 years ago. The reality was, it was 15 years ago. So I'm saying I got the Mister. I'm sure I got the Mister this year. I don't recall having it last year. Maybe I did. I don't know. You can tell me possibly. But yeah, the Mister. If you don't know what it is, go and check it out. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Well, I'll very briefly tell you what it is. It's a small box that you plug into a monitor through HDMI, and it has a series of machines. They call them cores. Virtually every popular computer you can think of, every popular console, it's got these on this little box, and like I said, they're called cores. And when you open one, it effectively turns this little box into that piece of hardware. So it's not emulation. You know, you'll get shot and crucified for calling it an emulator. It doesn't emulate. When you run an emulator on a PC's window, you've got a piece of software which is the emulator, then it's running on top of Windows. So it's like 2-layer, whereas a Mister actually runs the software. The hardware becomes the hardware of the sort of machine you're running, if that makes any sense. And the output to that is, it does it almost perfectly. There's no lag, it emulates it just perfectly. So if a machine slows up, it will slow up in the Mister as well. So the Mister has been a complete revelation for me. I'd like to think that you agree that my live streams are better, because I don't spend as much time kind of fanning about with emulators, and then some days when I was using emulators, the window would be really, really small and you're having to make it big and all that kind of stuff. The great thing with Mister, well, it's the Mister and the, whatever it's called, what's it called? Capture card thing, yeah. It's a little device that allows me to broadcast the Mister onto a live stream using OBS. So yeah, the Mister has been great. It's a fantastic bit of hardware. If you're a retro gamer, then I suggest you go and get it, and then you can sell your entire collection and put it towards something else. Excuse me. Yeah, I love it that much. I bought two. I've got one which I kind of play all the time, and I've got one which I kind of use for streaming. So the Mister has been a complete revelation. It really has. This year, what did I do? I did go to a couple of game shows. One show I didn't go to this year, which is the first time I've not been there for quite a few years. Sorry, I'll start again. One show I didn't go to, which I've been going to for a good number of years, was Play Blackpool. I was away in Catalonia playing pool, so I couldn't go. I did miss it. I mean, the last two Blackpools last year, and then the year before that, I was very, very lucky enough to host the panel talks. I met some incredible people, great, some people I didn't know, some people I knew from magazines and what have you, and obviously, John Romero, that that was a bit special being able to interview him last year. So I didn't go to play Blackpool this year. I don't think I'll be going next year either, because again it's going to kind of tie in with when I'm hopefully going to Catalonia again. I did get to 2 events, just the 2, down to Newcastle or Sunderland. Is it Sunderland? It is Sunderland, I'm sure it is. No, it's Newcastle. It is Newcastle. Gateshead, bloody Newcastle, it's Gateshead. Yeah, because Gateshead International Stadium, whatever it is. I went down there, I can't remember when it was it July, something like that. And for NERG, which is North East Retro Gaming. Not a bad event, it's quite low key compared to the other bigger events. It was great, as always. These things, it's more about meeting people. I met Trevor, I met Ox, Neil, I met 20th Century Gamer Mark, I met Paula Moz. Great. I think I probably met a few other people. Apologies if I've kind of missed you out, but it was always good. Interestingly, I also got to finally meet Billy Mitchell and Walter Day. And if you don't know who these guys are, again, go and check it out. Billy Mitchell was probably the original kind of super classic gamer. He got the first perfect Pac-Man. He held the world's highest score for Donkey Kong and numerous other games. Unfortunately, Billy is now kind of more famous for lawsuits and what have you, and I was quite excited to get to see him. Him and Walter did a talk. Honest opinion, I thought he came across as a bit of a twat. From what I gather, one of my mates, Tony Temple, and Paul Drury in fact as well, they both know Billy Mitchell pretty well, and they said that 99% of the time he has this character. Billy Mitchell, he wears he's got the stripy shirt, he's got the American tie, he's got the mullet. It's an act, he says, and he very, very rarely puts his guard down unless you really know him quite well. And I found that quite irritating. I thought he came across as quite obnoxious, quite rude, if I'm being honest. I did have a chat with him. I did say, I introduced myself and I said, would you fancy coming on the channel? And he said, well, follow me, and we walked upstairs to this big room, and they were doing another kind of talk, and then he just walked away from me, and I stayed for the duration of one of the talks, waiting to see if he was going to come up and speak to me, and he didn't, and I just thought, oh, fuck you, and I just went downstairs, and I thought, nah, even if he did come up to me, I wouldn't have approached him. I just thought he was a bit of a twat, and I'm not interested in talking to twats on the channel. There's plenty of really good people. Walter Day, he is very, very old. He did look like he was struggling. I mean, he fell asleep when they were doing the talks. Again, this whole retro gaming kind of scene, it is a wonderful thing, and there are lots and lots of people who are really, really nice, down to earth people. They do it for fun, they don't do it for money. Unfortunately, Billy Mitchell and Walter Day, they're like a comedy act, and I think their whole act it's an act. You don't see the real people. They never drop their guard. When you hear them talking, you just know it sounds like it's all rehearsed. So you're not really getting to actually meet the proper people. So yeah, it was 2 guys that obviously are famous in this kind of hobby of ours, and having met them, I was disappointed. What is it they say? Never meet your heroes. Not that either of them were my heroes, but I've met them. And I says, Billy Mitchell, I just thought he was a twat, not interested in talking to him. And Zap Live, I can't even remember when that was it October or something? I honestly can't remember. September? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. August? Doesn't matter. it was down in a place called Kenilworth, and one of my mates, Dale Boy, very kindly offered to put him and my mate up for a couple of nights. So we drove down to Banbury, where Dale stays, and yeah, we met his mum. His mum's a lovely person. We were made to feel extremely welcome with a great weekend. The slight downer of the weekend was probably the Zap Live event itself, which sounds daft because, again, I thought Zap Live, you know, I'm a Commodore 64 guy, there's going to be, you know, lots of guests and all that. The biggest problem for me was the actual premises itself. The hotel that it was in was far too small. There was no structure or layout or anything. They had two rooms, Commodore 64 room, Commodore Amiga room. There was no structure. They had kind of random games playing. Half of them weren't even in the original hardware. They were using like the 64, which is like the recreated excuse me, machines. And then the biggest kind of disappointment were the talks. Now bear in mind, 99% of people go to these events for the talks. Now you need to remember, this wasn't cheap. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was about 50 quid or something for the tickets. Maybe not quite as much as that, maybe 40 quid, something like that. It was a lot of money. It wasn't like a fiver to get in. And the talks themselves were held in this one room. There were, I think it was 500 people there, and the room held about 80 people, which meant that 420 people could not get in to see the talks. You know, really? That is bad planning. So I found the whole event disappointing, very disappointing. I know my mate and I know Dale himself found it disappointing. Would I go back? No, not interested. So that was the two events. The highlight of this year from a YouTube point of view 100% had to be the 12-hour live stream that I did on the 5th of November. I mean, I did one in 2020, I think it was, and people had been saying to me, oh, when are you going to do another live stream, a 12-hour live stream, you need to do one. And I kept putting it off and putting it off there, and I thought to myself, well, why don't we do it? Why don't we do it? So I set the date, and then I thought to myself, and I'd said to people beforehand, look, don't build your hopes up. It's not, there's going to be no guests, it's just going to be me playing games, talking, listening to synth music, whatever. So yeah, but then in the intervening weeks before it, I thought to myself, why don't I just see if Sean Southern fancies coming on? Why don't I speak to Richard Leinfeld or see if he fancies coming on? So I pinged out messages to a number of people, and every single person was able to come along apart from Dan Malone, who sadly his dad wasn't keeping well. If you're watching this, Dan, I hope your dad's okay, mate. So Dan was the only person that couldn't get along. So who did I have? You know what? I'm not even going to attempt to name who I had because I don't want to miss out anybody. But I had everybody that took part was just fantastic. I don't mind admitting, and I'm sure the other guys will understand, the highlight for me, everybody was brilliant, you know, great talks, really entertaining, had a blast. The highlight for me had to be Jeff Minter and Giles. I've been after Jeff Minter for a long time, many years. I've met Jeff on quite a number of occasions. I think he's still a gamer. I mean, he's extremely well known. I mean, you know, he programmed for Atari. He's really well known across the world for what he does, and yet he's still this humble hippie from Wales. You know, he's got no airs and graces about him. And Giles is he's brilliant. He's really funny. He's hilarious when he's talking, and he's a lovely guy as well. So yeah, having they two guys was like, they came on at the very end, and it was fantastic having these guys on. But like I said, everybody played their part. Del Boy was the guy that was kind of helping me in the background as well. So, you know, everyone played their part. I can't not mention one person, Nick Sherman, Arlasoft. Nick, if you don't know, he he is Arlasoft. He's got his own software company. It's a part-time thing, I hasten to add. Nick learned how to program a Commodore 64 about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and he picked it up as quick as anything, and he went out and started writing games for the C64, and he's written the best Galaxian, the best Galaga, an arcade perfect Berserk, and more recently he wrote Burger Time for the C64, plus tons of other original games. Now, for the live stream, Nick agreed to program Burger Time, and then during the live stream he allowed me to play it. It was like the very, very first time the game had been played, you know, in public, so people could actually see it. He is in the process of writing another game, which is a conversion of a game which I'm quite synonymous with. You can work that one out for yourself, and I think he's very kindly agreed to kind of let me get the sort of first copy of it. I will be doing I'm doing a live stream on Sunday night, Christmas Eve, with Lone Boys Post 1975, and he's hopefully going to get this game ready, and I can have a play of it on the live stream. But yeah, the reason I'm giving Nick a special mention is because the game Burger Time he made available to download, and you could donate money, and all the money raised by the sales of this game for about 2-3 days he donated to a charity. Well, that's one thing I completely forgot to mention. The lovely part about the stream, apart from it being great fun, we were asking people to donate money, and we got just over £1,500, which was phenomenal, and it went to 2 fantastic charities. I actually handed the money over about 2 weeks ago. Each charity got one charity got 760 quid, and the other charity got £767, I think it was. There was like £7 difference, but a phenomenal amount of money. And the sales of Burger Time raised, I think it was in the region of 160 quid, so, you know, just awesome. So a massive special thanks to Nick for his generosity and his friendship. You know, he's supported my channel so much, and it's really appreciated. But no, everybody played their part, everybody that watched, everybody that donated, was just great. It was 100% the highlight of my YouTube year. Would I do it again? Absolutely. Will it be next year? Hell no. It takes an incredible amount of effort and organisation to pull this together. Plus the fact, I think, like anything, if you do something too much, it becomes boring. People become a bit blasé about it. I think if you were to do it every year or even every 2 years, it would become boring. I don't want it to do that. I want it to be something that people can look forward to. So maybe 2-3 years time we'll have another think about it, and we might well do another one. But yeah, the 12-hour live stream was just fantastic. So that's kind of my YouTube the last 12 months. From a personal point of view, what have I been doing? I'm now almost 2 years in a new job. Still enjoying that, which has been good, because I was kind of unsettled for a while. I was kind of chopping and changing jobs after about a year, so I'm kind of settled in this job, and that's going well, so that is great. My cook school, I've mentioned it briefly. It's a martial arts, a South Korean martial art, which I started in, when did it be? May 2022, May last year. Not May, I'm talking complete bollocks. January, I started it January last year, which would be January 2022. Obviously January coming up will be 2 years. I'm now up to the dizzy heights of red belt with brown tab. So yeah, really enjoying it. It's tough. I don't mind admitting that. There's been times where I'm like, oh, I don't want to go because it's hard, and it is hard now. I'm not getting any younger. I was 56 in October. So yeah, you know, it's maybe not the kind of sport I would recommend you take up when you get to my age, but you know, I'm enjoying it. It's great. And another slightly less physical sport is pool. My girlfriend, some of you may know, my girlfriend actually plays pool for Scotland. She's been picked a couple of times to play pool, and needless to say, she is really good. And I've been kind of playing pool with her over the last sort of 3-4 years, but not seriously at all. But last year I joined a pub team, not a pub team as much, it's a singles league. So there's about, I don't know how many, 20 players, and you play each other twice. I'm getting royally pumped, I don't mind admitting that. I mean, it's like first to 5 frames. Generally I get beat 5-1, 5-0, 5-2, whatever. But I'm definitely getting better. I mean, I played a guy on Tuesday. I played him a couple of months ago, he beat me 5-0. Played him on Tuesday, it was 5-4. So, you know, I'm definitely getting better, which is great. So, having my cooks full and having the pool does eat into my free time, you know, hence the reason the sort of lack of videos. But yeah, I think it's important that I've got a kind of healthy kind of balance between, you know, being a nerd and playing video games to doing a martial art and that kind of stuff. I like to kind of have that balance. I wouldn't want to kind of give up one and just stick to the next one. So that's been good. So yeah, there's been a few things. Like everybody, I've had a few personal things that have caused me a great deal of stress, but you know, we all have it, absolutely everybody. If you think you're the only person that's got stress in your life, think again. Trust me folks, everybody has it. Some people are just better at hiding it, you know, and all I can say to anyone that's kind of going through the mill at the moment is things do get better, absolutely do get better. You know, the negatives only last for a short space of time. On the flip side, good things only last for a short space of time. It just depends, but you know, if you're in the doldrums about things and you think it's never going to get better, trust me folks, it does. You know, it will get better. What else have I written down there? Yeah, plans for next year. From a YouTube point of view, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, try and put out kind of pre-recorded videos when I can, keep the Friday Waffle going, get your subject matter in folks. Yeah, Sunday live stream, I'll keep doing them, using the mister, etc, etc. Road trips, I would really like to organise another trip to Arcade Club. We went down to the one in Bury. Wasn't last year, it was the year, no, was it? It was last year, it wasn't this year, it was last year, 2022. Probably go to the one in Leeds because it's a bit closer. Because last time I drove down with a mate and it was an absolute bollock a drive. I think there'd been a storm, one of these storms that they always give names. There'd been a really bad storm just a few days before and some of the roads were blocked and it was an absolute bollock. So plans are to do an Arcade Club road trip. Don't know when it's going to be, probably in the spring, maybe kind of April time, something like that, April, May. I will obviously keep you up to date and let you know. So that's the plans. Pico 8, yeah, Pico 8 is, I've got a video coming out. The Pico 8, if you don't know what it is, it's a virtual console. It doesn't exist in hardware form at all. It's purely software, but the wonderful thing is, you can make it run. It's been written for, it's compatible with like Windows, compatible with Linux I think, and it's also compatible with Android, so you can run it on your phone, etc. Now I've got this little handheld that I bought not that long ago, and I've been playing Pico 8. The games are great. It's to try and explain what the Pico 8 is, imagine a console that came out, I don't know, imagine a sort of slightly turbocharged Atari 2600. That's kind of where it is graphic wise, maybe slightly better, but it's got the grunt behind it. So some of the games they look great. They're really kind of glowy, bright visuals, and it's a lovely little system. So go and check it out. It's called the Pico 8. I have got a video. I've just got to finish editing it, which I'll be putting out in the next probably week or so. So that is it, folks. I've got nothing else to. In fact, wait a minute. I think there was Steve gaming since the 80s. He has very kindly asked me a question. I hope you enjoyed your Christmas parties. Waffle questions for you. Question 1: what was the first game you ever had that had a built-in level or map editor? I don't know what one came first. There was 2 games that spring to mind. The first one was Racing Destruction Set by Electronic Arts, I think it was. I'm sure it was them that did FIFA 2024. Or it's not called that now. It's called something else completely different because I've lost the license. It was kind of like a racing track on rails. It looked like a kind of Skeletrix type game. But it also had a built-in track editor. And the other game that sprung to mind was a game called Mr. Robot, which is actually a really, really nice, mega playable platform game, similar to kind of Manic Miner, Miner 2049 type game. And again, it had its own level editor. Boulder Dash had one, but I never ever bothered with that. I'm quite lazy, I'm just a person that plays games. I'm very lazy when it comes to things like that, so I wasn't very creative, hence the reason I never tried to write a game or anything. They 2 games were probably the first ones that I can think of. And secondly, if someone was going to buy you a game for Christmas, what game would you pick and why? Is there a game that's... I'm trying to think. I'm sure there probably is. I don't buy many games. The last game that I bought was the redone version of the Resident Evil 4. I've got that on the Xbox Series X, but I've not actually played it yet. I'm still trying to play Last of Us 2 and Power Wash Simulator, of course. Is there a game out at the moment? I can't think of any. No, I can't. I don't even know if there's any Switch game or anything that I could think about. No, sorry, Steve, I can't think of any. I'm not just going to make up one just for the sake of the question. I can't actually think of anything. Obviously, I've seen the trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6. Are the graphics going to look like that? I'm sure they probably will. It does look astonishing, but it's far too early to really to see how it's going to be. But that kind of game I have got no interest in. Will I buy it? Of course I'm going to buy it. Apparently it's coming out for the Series X Xbox, which I've got there, so that's fine. It means I don't have to go and buy a console to play it. But it'll be one of these games that I'll play it for probably a couple of hours and then I'll not play it. But that tends to be the way I kind of work. So anyway, folks, listen, I am waffling now. I'm going to get going. I will be along on Sunday night. It won't be the normal Sunday night gaming stream. It will be my Christmas live stream. It's become a bit of a tradition with Dave Longboy's Post 1975. I think this is probably, is it the 4th year in a trot that we've done one? There is no agenda. We will just waffle about video games and probably something to do with Christmas along the lines as well. So yeah, that's going to be Sunday the 24th of December. I've done a couple of live streams on Hogmanay. I won't be doing that this year. I'm actually going out for the first time in many years. I'm going out to a kind of party thing. But the plan is, if I can be arsed, depends how things go, on the 1st of January at night time, I may well do a live stream of some sort, but we shall see. So anyway, listen, in fact, yeah, if you don't watch the live stream on Christmas Eve, I just want to take this opportunity to obviously thank everybody for all their help and support over the last 12 months. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I'm now over 4,000 subscribers, which is just bloody mental. I'm not making any money at all these days on my channel. I have no idea. The revenue things appears to have completely fucked up, so I don't get any money at all from YouTube. I've tried to fix it, don't know how to, but it doesn't matter. But anyway, listen folks, thanks again for all your support. I hope you all have a great Christmas, and I will see you shortly. As always folks, thank you very much for watching.